We're going to start this eye in the base. Let's just go over the Mishnah outside and then we'll jump to where we're up to. Rabbi Kiva asked Rabbi Eliezer, if someone does a lot of toldos on different Shabbosim, so is he chayiv or not? So Rabbi Eliezer responds, that's a kal v'chomer from a nida. Nida only has one prohibition, and nevertheless, a person would be chayiv if he violates the nida many times. So Shabbos that has many prohibitions for sure should be chayiv. So Rabbi Kiva responds, 1 second. Nida is only a prohibition from the man and from the woman. Shabbos is only a prohibition from the one that's performing it. There's no subject object there. There's only one person that's doing it. So he said, okay. So a katana, where there's no one prohibited. No. So he says katana is going to become prohibited later on. It's okay, behema. And then the Gemara concludes, it's a little bit unclear. He says behema kashabas. That means, is Rabbi Kiva agreeing, or is Rabbi Kiva asking that that's his question as well? Now, the Gemara discussed yesterday that the original question seems to be this like a bulk question. We have one question is, do we say that toldos are considered separate malachas? When there's one toldos, several toldos from one av, are they considered one category? And the other question is Shabbos divide up malachas? If you do it on one Shabbos, another Shabbos, the same malacha, is that considered one malacha? So he should have asked it twice. That's what we're asking. Do you get the punishment for each one, or is it just one malacha? Oh, so if you're doing it b'shogeg, you're doing a chatas for each one. Very good. So we concluded yesterday that tarti ba'im minay. Let's start from that. Amar Rava Amri Beirav tarti ba'im minay. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines up. He had two questions. Shabbos is kegufin damyan. First question is Shabbos is Shabboses, separate Shabboses, like different malachas. Gufin means gufin malacha.
Is he asking the second question first?
Yeah, second question first.
Huh.
Is Shabbos like different malachas? Even if I did the same malacha, I cooked, would be smoking, let's say. That's something that someone would do every time. Right. So he did it. He smoked on Shabbos, one Shabbos, and a week later he smokes again on Shabbos. Is that considered one malacha?
That's what he's asking. Or
is it two? Is it like a different malacha? Is it because it's a different Shabbos? It's like a different malacha. And Eli. And also by yeah. So that's what we're going to discuss. And also, Vladi Malachas Kamalachas Damian Eli. Do we say that a tolda is like an av? Okay. Now the Gemara asks, what's he asking about Shabbos? What happened over here on several Shabbos? We got to go through what's the story. Okay. In order to learn this Gemara, this is a very complex Gemara in Masechta Shabbos, Klal Gadol, the beginning of Klal Gadol. And the complexity is like this. We're talking about a shogeg. He's making a mistake. But what's his mistake? There's several options here. The mistake could be, he never heard that there's an issue of Shabbos. So everything that he does is b'shogeg. He doesn't know the concept of Shabbos. He doesn't know the concept of malachas. He doesn't know Iker Shabbos. He doesn't know anything. Another mistake is, he knows Shabbos. He just didn't know today was Shabbos. He thought today was Friday. He woke up in the morning, he did everything like a Friday. And it was really Shabbos. So he knows all the malachas, but his mistake is Shabbos. Another possibility is,
he didn't know that was.
He didn't know that was not allowed. He knows Shabbos, but he didn't know you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. So those are the options. So let's go through this. What's the story that we're talking about when we say that he did a malacha on Shabbos and Shabbos again? What are we dealing with? Shiggas Shabbos v'zad malacha. Shiggas Shabbos means his mistake was regarding Shabbos. He didn't know that it was Shabbos. He forgot it was Shabbos.
Just saying, if he forgets that, if he thinks one Shabbos is Friday, then he also thinks the next Shabbos is Friday.
That could be. It could be if he's not in a community. Remember that story with the guy? They served him vodka and he slept for 24 hours, and they said, "Wake up the bench." It was a Rav. Okay, Zad Malachas means that he knows that it's.
He doesn't know it's Shabbos, but
he doesn't know it's Shabbos, but he knows it's not that this would not be allowed if it would be Shabbos. So the Gemara say, "Pshitale diyam shemin time havi yediyah lechalik." Then, what we're dealing with is if he does one malacha on Shabbos, and then he doesn't the same malacha on the next Shabbos, do we say that that's considered
a break? He did it the second time.
Is it considered two malachas?
If
because
he didn't bring the chatos the first time.
No, he didn't.
No, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything. He didn't even know. Yeah, he didn't even know that there was an issue in between. We're asking, did the days in the middle separate it into two separate malachas? So we say, obviously, the days in the middle are going to separate it. So, in other words, the shigaga of Shabbos, of not knowing Shabbos, gets broken, gets an awareness in the middle, in the weekdays. He must be that we're asking where he knows that it's Shabbos. He just didn't know that malacha. He didn't know that malacha was aser. You know, you're not allowed to tie a permanent knot or something. He didn't know that. So he did it on one Shabbos, another Shabbos. Is it considered like separate malachas or not? That's our question over here. He didn't. You know, the issue is that he didn't learn it in the middle. In between, he didn't go to learn. So he doesn't, the same not awareness that he had last week, he has this week. But is it considered like another malacha because it's another Shabbos? Just like on Shabbos, if he does two malachas, he plows and then he plants, and then he harvests or whatever. Those are all different malachas, even if he forgets. But those are separate malachas, yechayev. So here also, he did the same malacha, but it's on different Shabbos. Do I look at it like separate malachas? When I use the term gufin means bodies, but we really mean gufin malachas. Is it like a separate malacha, even though it's the same malacha, but it's a different Shabbos?
So essence is the same malacha, but it may be chayav for multiple times.
Yeah, but you're only chayav for multiple times if you have an awareness in between. No. Here he didn't learn in between to know, but it's a different Shabbos. And that's Rabbi Kiva's question to Rabbi Eliezer.
So the awareness is that there's a different shot.
It's a different day. Break.
Over here there's no awareness. We're just saying that because it's a different Shabbos, it's like a separate malacha.
Okay, got it. There's not awareness of Shabbos. Awareness.
Over here we don't need an awareness to make it into a separate malacha. It's a separate Shabbos. We view it like a separate malacha. There's 39 and another 39 and another 39, and that's the 39 on the next Shabbos is not the same 39 from the previous Shabbos, so it's a different malach. Oidilma, or maybe Zadin Shabbos v'shignas malachas pshitale the kegufin damin. Maybe Rabbi Kiva was this was obvious to him that if he doesn't know the malacha, and he does it again, so he does it again the next Shabbos, that's considered like a separate malacha. And what's the shaila? And really his question is where he doesn't know that it's Shabbos. And do we say the Yom Shemin time he doesn't know that it's Shabbos. Next week he also doesn't know that it's Shabbos. Do we say the fact that he had no awareness the whole time doesn't matter, and the weekdays in the middle break that up into two separate?
This guy has his calendar wrong, right?
Yeah, the one that thinks it's Friday or something, whatever.
His calendar view of 2 weeks. I can understand the first.
No, he just thinks Tuesday.
He lives in the middle of a forest or somewhere
Friday.
with no
he mixes
people.
Up Friday and Shabbos. Every Friday.
He was counting a different Shabbos.
Right.
So no one warned him the first time that it was.
No, this is a shaygig. Shaygig, yeah, we're talking about he's bringing a chatas. What else could it be? maybe this person thinks Shabbos is supposed to be on Friday or Sunday. He's just learning the religion. I don't know.
Or he was in North Carolina.
But he knows the malachas. And they were so frum, they didn't tell him Saturday. Saturday, that's like a Gayish word. He teaches the Shabbos. He doesn't know if it's Friday.
Did you hear this? There was a tribe in Africa, and they recently made Aliyah to Israel. And they've been davening for thousands of years. They thought the base of English was still there.
Oh, really?
They got there, they were freaking out.
It was
because there was no base of English.
It was the Ethiopian Jews.
It was yeah.
Which within Ethiopia?
Somewhere in Africa, one of the lost tribes.
They were saying the Ethiopian Jews when they came to.
No, not
Yeah,
that.
and then
That was not
This
in
is
the
a couple
movie
weeks
Red
ago.
Sea Diving Resort.
What's a movie?
It's hard to keep track of all
It's a
the
movie
African
about
tribes.
saving the Ethiopian Jews.
Uh-huh.
Between the Amazon tribes and the African tribes, I'm just lost.
So, Amar Rabba says, Mistabra, it makes sense.
And what's a movie? What's a
Shigga-
bracha?
They joked
The
about
Ferrari joke.
but then they joked about excuse me, what bracha do you make on something? So they asked this person they said, what's the bracha? And they asked someone from
Yeah,
a certain
that's
country. They
with
said,
Ferrari.
Don't step on the joke.
they said, what's excuse me?
Step on the joke.
Excuse me.
Mistabra, Shigas Shabbos v'Zadin Malachas. Shigas Shabbos. He doesn't know about Shabbos. He knows the laws of Shabbos. He just didn't know that it was Saturday, that it was Shabbos. So the Gemara says that Pshita, if that would be the case, then the Yom Shemin Time Havi Dei L'Chalek. That it would be separate malachas. We're on top of Tes Zayin Amid Beis. The Zadin Shabbos v'Shigas Malachas with the Vayminei. In the whole question here is only when he doesn't know the laws of Shabbos. He thought that this law was permissible. Kegufin damin oilai. Do I say that a separate Shabbos is like a separate malacha? Or do I say not? Do I say it's one malacha that was done 1 week after another, but it's really all one malacha? Pashatlei, and then Rabbi Eliezer responded to Rabbi Akiva, the Zodin Shabbos v'Shigas malachas kegufin damin. Rabbi Eliezer was strict about this. He says it's considered separate malachas. But like Kabbalah Minay, and Rabbi Akiva doesn't accept it. Upashatlei, and he also asked him, and he responded, the Vladei malachas ki malachas damin, that told us are like avos. In other words, if you do separate told us you're doing of one av. It's as if you did separate avos. But like Kabbalah Minay, and he didn't accept that either. Amar Rabba says, Mina Aminallah. How do I know that this is the logical way of doing this, of saying what the Shaila is? Now, the Shaila is, do I say that Shabbos makes it like a different malacha? Each Shabbos is like a different malacha, even though you did the same malacha each week, but it's like a different malacha because it's a different Shabbos. He says, Ditanan, start in the Mishnah. Klal Gadol Amru b'Shabbos, this is that famous Mishnah. The Klal Gadol, this is the beginning of the parak. And this is known as a difficult sugya in Shabbos. So it says like this: Kol ha'shechechek Shabbos. He forgets the basic concept of Shabbos. That means he doesn't know that Shabbos is even in the Torah. He doesn't have Shabbos and he doesn't have the malachas. He doesn't have anything. So not v'asa malachas harbe b'Shabbos is harbe. He does many malachas on many Shabbosim. He doesn't know anything. So ein chayiv alachas. He's only chayiv one karban for all the malachas, for all the Shabbosim. Hayideyek Shabbos, but someone that does know the concept of Shabbos. However, he forgets that it's Shabbos. I'm adding that in to make this clear. And va'asa malachas harbe b'Shabbos harbe, and he does many malachas on many Shabbosim. Chayiv al kol Shabbos v'Shabbos. He's chayiv for each Shabbos. But what about the different malachas?
Maybe they're just trying to say that.
So the Gemara learns over there. It says achas shehena, or hena shehi achas, va'asa achas mehena. The Gemara learns va'asa mei achas mehena. The Gemara says that it's possible to do all 39 malachas and only be chayiv once, one chatas. How is that? If you're forgetting is not the malacha is asur, but you're forgetting that Shabbos. You're forgetting that it's Shabbos. And then you're only chayav one korban. Let's say this. Hayidei shu Shabbos. Let's say he knows that it's Shabbos. This is called Zadin Shabbos. He knows that it's Shabbos. V'asa malachas harbe b'Shabbos harbe. But he does many malachas. Why? Because it's shigagas malachas. He doesn't know that this malacha or these malachas are asur. So chayav al kolav malacha malacha. He's chayav on each av. That's the Mishnah. But one second. The ilu chayav al kolav malacha shal kol Shabbos v'Shabbos like Tani. But it doesn't say he's chayav on each av of every malacha. Hey, he's only chayav one malacha on each av, but for all the Shabbosim together, one.
So while he is being chayav on each one individually, but only one.
But only one for all the Shabbosim. That must mean that it's not keguf and damyan. That each Shabbos is not separated. Mani.
Wait, I was just thinking. The person doesn't know what Shabbos, what day Shabbos is. He probably doesn't know what to come on Chatzos. So there's a chance that he's going to do it.
He goes to yeshiva. Someone like you puts tefillin on him.
You're allowed to do it. Someone Chatzos and 2 years later.
What?
Oh, there's Yom Kippur. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We mentioned something if there's a Yom Kippur in between, and I forget how it works. So, Maniha, who is the author of this Mishnah? Ilema Rebbe Lezer. If you say that this Mishnah is Rebbe Lezer, now this is going to throw us off, because we don't know who the author of this Mishnah is. So, and we don't know what Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Eliezer. If we don't know what Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Eliezer, we don't know what Rabbi Eliezer responded. And so this is going to be a slightly complex. You have to work these things out with, like, you're stacking these cards, you're putting them, you have to find the right place where they're going to fit. So it's like a puzzle. If it's Rabbi Eliezer, so Ema Seifa. We have a piece of information here that could tell us how this puzzle is going to fit together. The Seifa says of that Mishnah, see, that we didn't mention yet. If someone does a lot of toldas of one av, Ein chayiv al achas, you only chayiv one. Okay. We know that Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold that. We know that Rabbi Eliezer holds that you're chayiv on every tolda. So, okay, this Mishnah is not Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, so now, Elapshita Rabbi Akiva. So now we know the Mishnah is Rabbi Akiva. If the Mishnah is Rabbi Akiva, then we're going to be able to figure out what Rabbi Akiva holds, because Rabbi Akiva didn't accept the answer. Let's see. So, Ushmamina, we see from this that Shigas Shabbos is Adam Lachas Pshitalei. If there is a mistake of Shabbos, but he's very clear on the Malachas, he just didn't know that it was Shabbos. So it's Pshitalei the Yom Shem in time Havi Yediyah. He didn't know that it was Shabbos. He does a Malacha this week. He does a Malacha the next week. So the days in the middle are interruptions, Lachalik. Those are gonna divide. Why? How do we know that? Because we said Chayiv al Kol Shabbos for Shabbos, right? The Mishnah says you Chayiv for each Shabbos. That means it divides it up. This is talking about Hayidei Ikar Shabbos. That's the case. But what about Zadin Shabbos for Shigas Malachas? If he knows that it's Shabbos, but he doesn't know the Malachas. Now our question is, who Dabai? That's his question. Ikaguf and Damyan. Are they like separate Malachas because it's done on a separate Shabbos? Even though it's the same mistake. He doesn't know that this tying a knot, a permanent knot, is asa. And he does it every Shabbos, one after another. So now our question is it considered a different malacha because it's a different Shabbos? So that's Rabbi Akiva's question to Rabbi Eliezer. Upashat leid dekegufindam. And Rabbi Eliezer says it is considered a separate malacha. And what do we say here? What's that gimel? And Vladi malachas ki malachas damyan. And he also asked him, are toldas considered like avos? V'tavaya like kabel minei. And he doesn't accept either of them from him. Now, how do we see that he doesn't accept that? Because we said, V'ilu chayav al kolav malacha shel kol Shabbos v'Shabbos like tani. We said that by Zadin Shabbos, Our question is Shigigas Malachas. That's our question. Shigigas Malachas. He doesn't know that this Malach is Asr, but he does it every week. He said you're chayav for each Malacha, but we didn't say you're chayav for each Shabbos. So that means that he's not accepting Rabbi Eliezer's response. According to Rabbah,
did not say that.
According to Rabbah, there's a machlekes here between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva. If we say Shabbos is kegufin damyan, according to Rabbi Eliezer, the same malacha on several Shabbosim is like different malachas. And according to Rabbi Akiva, it's not. Amar le Abaya. Abaya says to Rabbah, Abaya is a student of Rabbah. Really, I could say to you differently. That Zadin Shabbos v'shigas malachas pshitlei l'Rebbe Kiva the Shabbos is lav kegufin damyan. If the person knows it's Shabbos and he doesn't know the law of Shabbos, he doesn't know that law, and he commits that sin every Shabbos. Really, according to Rebbe Kiva, that's very obvious that that's not kegufin damyan, that he's pater, that it's all considered one malacha, and that was never his question to Rabbi Eliezer. According to Abaya, we don't know what Rabbi Eliezer holds about that either. That's the big chiddush here. According to Rabbah, it was clear that Rabbi Eliezer holds that it's considered a separate malacha each Shabbos. And Rabbi Akiva is asking him that, and Rabbi Akiva doesn't accept it. But if once we change the question, then we don't know what Rabbi Eliezer holds either. It could be Rabbi Eliezer is also lenient in this. Both Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Eliezer agree that a mistake in the malacha, that he doesn't know the malacha, and even though he does it every Shabbos, that's all considered one malacha. His question was, if he doesn't know that it's Saturday, he doesn't know it's Shabbos. Do we say that the days in the middle are an interruption, even though there was no awareness? So just the fact that there were weekdays in the middle, that separates the Shabbos. No, his shogeg was that it was Shabbos. He didn't know that it was Shabbos. So because it becomes not Shabbos in the middle, does that separate that malacha? Upashitle, and Rabbi Eliezer tells him, Yom Shem Time L'Chalek, or Haviyadiyah L'Chalek. Rabbi Eliezer tells him that the days in the middle do separate. Now here's a big chiddush. The couple minay, and Rabbi Akiva accepts the answer. Because we have two ways of looking at Rabbi Akiva's response at the end, when he says, Behema Kanida. That, okay, I accept your answer.
Right.
Or does he mean to say, that was my question also? So we have two ways of getting that response. So let's just take a look back at the Mishnah that we quoted. And we're talking about if someone does a malacha on Shigigas Shabbos, and he knows the malachas, we say chayav al kol Shabbos for Shabbos. Rabbi Akiva himself says he's chayav for every Shabbos. Shigigas Shabbos. He doesn't know that it's Shabbos, and he does many malachas. He's chayav for each Shabbos. Why? Because Yom Shem Time have Yediyah L'Chalek. Because the days in the middle is considered an awareness that separates them. However, the second question Rabbi Akiva doesn't accept. When it comes to Toldos, he holds that they're all considered one category, one malacha. And that's where they're going to differ. Okay, Rav Chizda says, so far we have two opinions here. We have Rabbah's opinion of this question. Then we have Abaya's. Now we have Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda is the same generation as Rabbah. Rav Chizda, and Abaya is down below. Rav Chizda is okay. See, we had by Abaya, it said Omer Le Abaya. Abaya is talking to him. Rav Chizda says, Zadin Shabbos v'shigas malachas afilu Rabbi Akiva svirei dekegufin damyan. If he knows that it's Shabbos, but he doesn't know this halacha, but he doesn't know this halacha. He doesn't know you're not allowed to tie this type of knot. He does it every week. So do we say that it's all one malacha? And he's only chayav one carbon. Or do we say that because he repeats it every Shabbos, it's like a separate malacha because he does it every Shabbos? Rav Chisda says, Rabbi Kiva holds it's considered separate malacha. Does that fit with our Mishnah? It doesn't fit with our Mishnah. Because our Mishnah, the last case of the Mishnah was Hayideshu Shabbos Vasu Malachas Harbe B'Shabbos Harbe Chayav Al Kol Av Malacha, but Bilu Chayav Al Kol Malacha Shal Kol Shabbos like Tani. We never said that you chayav one for each Shabbos. So what Rav Chisda is going to do is he's going to say that's not a diuk. The fact that it didn't say that, what it means, Chayav Al Kol Av Malacha means on each Shabbos. Rav Chisda is going to have to reinterpret the Mishnah differently than the way we were medayik from the Mishnah. What was Rabbi Kiva's question from Rabbi Lezer? Shigas Shabbos v'zad malachas u'debayminei. When there was a mistake in Shabbos, he didn't know that it was Shabbos. He knows the malachas. He just didn't know. He didn't know that it was Shabbos. The Yom Shemitayim Yavidia Lachalik. Do we say that the days in the middle separated? Upashatlei, and he responds, Yom Shemitayim Yavidia Lachalik. That the days in the middle are separated. The kabel minei, and Rabbi Kiva accepts it. He accepts it, and that's what we see in the Mishnah. If you're not medayik like that, upashatlei, and he also answers him, Vladi malachas kamalachas dabin v'lei kabel minei, but that he doesn't accept. So, what is the difference between Rav Chisda and Abaya? According to Abaya, his question was Yomim Shabin time, is it Yediyah L'chalik? According to Rav Chisda, Yomim Shabin time is Yediyah L'chalik. That is the Kabul Minay. And according to Abaya, was it Kabul Minay? Also Kabul Minay. So what's the difference?
They sound very similar.
The difference is in the case in the Pshitale. According to Abaya, Zadain Shabbos, V'shigas Malachas, his Shabbos can consider is if he doesn't know the Malacha, and he does it every week. According to Abaya, that's considered like one Malacha, because Pshitale that it's lav kiguf and damim. It's not separate malachas. And according to Rav Chisda, if he doesn't know the malacha, he does it every week, it's pshita to Rabbi Akiva that's considered separate malachas. The difference between Abaya and Rav Chisda is not in the question. It's in the obvious part. Right. And the question and what's the difference between Abaya and according to Abaya, he's going to be much more lenient. He's going to say that you only did one malacha. You did the same malacha every week. It's one malacha. And according to Rav Chisda, Shabbos divides it up. I don't want to use that term because that's a confusing term. Each Shabbos is a separate malacha, even though it's the same malacha. But because it was done each week, it's considered a separate malacha. You could view this machlekes, how you view time. Do you view time as separate things, and every Shabbos it's a new thing, or do you view time as just a repeat of this continuum? And you're doing the same thing. It's every Shabbos comes to the same place. This could be a.
Man. That cup looks super big on camera.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's like 3 times his size. I figured that out also for my grandkid. I told my daughter, "Why is he huge?" She put her hand on his side. She's like, "It's not huge. She's teeny. It's just a phone thing. It's
perspective.
It's perspective."
Amar Rav Chisda. In art, you learn that, right? When you want to make something look further away, you make it smaller. So Rav Chisda says, "Mina minala." how do I know what I'm saying? It says the Tanya was taught in a brayso. Kereisos Daf chayev. Writing on Shabbos needs to be 2 letters. 1 letter is not chayev. If someone writes 2 letters in one forgetting, he's chayev. But what about Beis Halamas? Let's say he writes a letter and he says, "Oh, it's Shabbos, oy." And then a little while later he writes another letter and he says, "Oh, Shabbos" again, right? So Ram Gamliel Mechayev.
No short-term memory.
He's got Alzheimer's.
Yeah, but the only good thing about that is the amount of new people you meet every day. Right?
So don't get the doctor started with his Alzheimer. His jokes go on forever, right? So Rabbi Gamliel Mechayev, a Chacham and Paichim, and the Chacham say it's exempt. Now, why does Rabbi Gamliel say Chayev? We've mentioned this once before. Rabbi Gamliel says Chayev because he holds that a Chatzi, what does he call it? Chatzi Yediyah?
Legal awareness for half a measure.
Yeah. Ein Yediyah L'Chatzi Shir. Rabbi Gamliel holds Ein Yediyah L'Chatzi Shir. You're trying to stop something and restart it, but because you never completed it, it's not considered like you did anything. I guess maybe
So that's the 1 letter.
sometimes you get a charge in the bank that it's pending and you want to contest it or something. They don't let you contest it until it's already put through. While it's pending, you have to wait and you just sit at it, watch it and get worried. No, it's true. So, you can't do anything until the